Thank you so much. Mrs. Mobolaji Akanji. She works as a proprietress of a private primary school in Lagos State, Nigeria, and her work has brought her to the plight of indigenous women and children who have the double burden of poverty and victimization in Nigeria. Currently, she's working with a group of women at the International Health Promotion Initiatives, and it's to strengthen health systems in Nigeria. And she's focused on AIDS awareness programs. So with that, I would like to welcome her to the panel today. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. I want to say a big thank you to the organizers and for everyone here seated. I represent International Health Initiative Promotions, and I'll be taking my working definition of violence against women from the United Nations 1993 Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women. According to its Articles 1 and 2, it defines violence against women as any acts of gender-based violence that results in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, psychological harm or suffering to women. It includes threats of such acts, coercion, arbitrary deprivation of liberty, whether it occurs in the public or private life, physical, sexual, and psychological violence occurring in the family, including battering, sexual abuse of female children in the household, dowry-related violence, marital rape, female genital mutilation, and other traditional practices harmful to women, non-spousal violence, and violence related to exploitation, physical, sexual, and psychological violence occurring within the general community, including rape, sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and intimidation at work, in educational institutions and elsewhere, trafficking in women, and forced prostitution. Physical, sexual, and psychological violence perpetrated or condoned by the state wherever it occurs. Nigeria is ranked 79 out of the 86 countries in 2012 Social Institution and Gender Index. The country was also ranked 86 out of 102 countries in 2000 Social Institution and Gender Index. So, violence against women is one of the most systematic and widespread human rights violations in Nigeria. It is rooted in gendered and patriarchal social structures rather than individual and random acts. It cuts across age, socioeconomic background, educational and geographical boundaries. In Nigeria, it is estimated that 1 in every 5 women faces some form of violence during her lifetime, which could be in private or public domain. 50% of these women have been subjected to abuse from husbands, fathers, uncles, and about 85% believe that the law will not protect them, and therefore they endure this abuse. A shocking and staggering 97.2% are not willing to report to the police. Such statistics suggest a shameful conspiracy of silence with an entrenched culture of impunity for perpetrators of domestic violence. More shocking are married women's acceptance of wife beating, indicating that educational and social systems may enable such practices. For example, in the southern region, up to 92% of the women find the practice acceptable. Research has suggested disturbingly that violence is endemic in some public institutions, including the police and certain educational institutions from primary to tertiary schools, workplaces, and so on, where an entrenched culture of impunity protects perpetrators of rape and other violence. These crimes are underreported and very few cases are brought to court. Female genital mutilation continues to be prevalent in Nigeria, and we have over 50 to 60% Nigerian women being affected, and up to 95% women are circumcised in the eastern part of Nigeria. The school curriculum still remains strongly wedded to patrilineal tradition society, thereby perpetuating the continued teaching of stereotypes about gender relations. Section 55 of the Penal Code applicable in northern Nigeria allows a man to beat his wife, insofar it does not constitute grievous harm. The police regulation 127 subsection 7 requires the female police officer desirous of marriage to apply in writing to the commissioner requesting for permission, while it is not so for men. Furthermore, in section 124, the Nigerian Police Act states that an unmarried police officer who becomes pregnant shall be discharged from the force and shall not be re-enlisted except with the approval of the Inspector General. There are other policies in banks, private corporations, which discriminate against women and targets women as sex objects. Others include Armed Forces Act, the Personal Income Tax laws. Where parental consent is needed to conduct marriage for persons below 21, the mother's consent is only relevant where the father is dead or unavoidably absent as a result of unsound mind, or he's out of the country. The definition of adult includes a child who is married, which is a serious problem of violation of girl that arises out of this is child marriage, which is more prevalent in the northern parts of the country. Very little girls are sent off to men who are old enough to be their fathers. While rape is a criminal offense in Nigeria, the police investigation and judicial trial process of the perpetrator are often travesty and turns out to psychologically destroy the victim. The burden of proof, lack of proof, is a problem. Then, furthermore, Section 211 of the Evidence Act of 2004 provides that when a woman is prosecuted for rape or attempt to commit rape for indecent assault, when a man is prosecuted for rape or for attempt to commit rape or for indecent assault, it may be shown that the woman against whom the offense is alleged to have been committed was allegedly immoral, of a generally immoral character. Though a Section 234 of the Evidence Act 2011 has made some attempt to remedy the effect of the section above, there is a lot left to be desired. In 2011, the Lagos State government, with a population of about 20 million, reported 283 cases of rape, out of which only 10 were prosecuted and convicted. Under the Sharia law, rape is interpreted as fornication, where the victim is not able to present witnesses who can confirm the veracity of her rape accusation. Women who are reprimanded in prisons or are awaiting trial are often subject of rape in the police cells. Studies suggested that more than half, and sometimes as much as 84% of female population have experienced sexual assault, rape, or molestation in childhood. That is less than 10% conviction rate. Trafficking in Nigeria has assumed an international dimension, with criminal smuggling of women and children across Nigeria's porous border. There is high traffic to Europe, particularly Italy, where over 60% of women and children trafficked are Nigerians. By 1998 UNICEF study, it was indicated that 4,000 children were trafficked from Cross River State to various parts of Nigeria. Until recently, most governments have considered violence against women, particularly domestic violence by a husband or an intimate partner, to be a relatively minor social problem, due largely to the efforts of women groups and evidence provided by research, including the World Health Organization and World Bank. Violence against women is now recognized as a both public health, human rights issues, which has implicating effect on growth and development. In the face of this violence against women, what are legislative efforts being done? 25 years ago, Nigeria ratified the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the Protocol to the African Charter on Human Rights and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, popularly known as the Maputo Protocol. Yet, the government has failed to domesticate CSW. Suggestions have been made that much of the blame can be placed on the plural legal system in Nigeria. That entails that internationally ratified laws have to be domesticated before these laws become enforceable. The implication is that current laws at national, state, and local level does not adequately protect the rights of women and girls. Although there have been some signs of progress, 4 states out of 36 states have enacted domestic violence laws, namely Ebonyi, Jigawa, Rivers, and Lagos. Only 6 states have enacted legislation against female genital mutilation. In essence, there is effective precedent on which the protection and promotion of women's rights can thrive based on these practices. The legal literature relies on statutory, customary, and religious law to permit violence against women. Also, Nigeria has ratified and domesticated Child Rights Act 2003, which is the domesticated version of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. And the Child Rights Bill has been passed into law by 23 out of 36 states of the Federation. While the law has done much in the area of girl-child marriage, it has placed minimum legal age for marriage at 18 years and also prohibited child labor and child servanthood within the country's legal system. There is a lot left to be desired. What are the efforts of the women groups? The NGO CSW Coalition was established in 1997 to respond to the gaps on the lack of coordinated voice on the issue of Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women in Nigeria. The coalition is a network of over 200 non-governmental organizations and community-based organizations across the 6 geopolitical zones. It was born out of the need to have a viable coalition promoting and protecting women's rights in Nigeria using international instruments. It was a new departure in the promotion and protection of women's rights in Nigeria. In 1998 and 2008, the coalition produced shadow reports submitted to the UN CSW committee, which highlighted the actual state of women's human rights in Nigeria. The coalition over the years mobilized, sensitized, trained various sectors of the society on the issues of women's rights and the importance of the domestication of CSW in Nigeria. In January 2012, the scope was expanded in line with this expansion. And several meetings were held in Lagos. The recommendations that came out of this were, what we need is a sweeping reform in education. In addition, gender-sensitive training for law enforcement officers, especially the police, and a uniform and specific legal act to help end all gender-based violence, as well as research and data in all areas of this highly sensitive area, which still remains a conspiracy of silence while women continue to suffer. Thank you very much.